a hard, sharp intro. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
I don't know what
Oh
happened.
my
Here we are. Take it away, Miss Stephanie.
Hey y'all. It's your girl Stephanie Hardy, the host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and contributor to Women's Wrestling Talk, here for women's wrestling news on today. And I am not alone. With me is our fearless leader, the Canadian assassin TK Trinidad. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. That was just the quickest intro I've ever
I know, and I
experienced.
really worked hard on it too. So I'm like, wait, what just happened? But I might have clicked the
Yeah.
button. Here we are.
Yeah, here
Welcome
we
to
are.
live TV.
Yes. So I'm really happy to be here and to be doing this newscast here for the very first time. I'm so pumped and thrilled to be with you. Woo! All right. So thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition. So we have so much to talk about in wrestling news and women's wrestling news. So let's just get into it. So the first thing on the docket to talk about is Mercedes Martinez releasing a statement following her WWE NXT release. She took Instagram this past Tuesday afternoon to address her NXT release that was made official last Friday during the live telecast of SmackDown Live. That was really crazy. It was really crazy as a fan to watch SmackDown as it's going on, and then you get all of this, you get Twitter going crazy about people getting released. It was kind of traumatizing.
It was why does the WWE do that? Like it's so I really want to know their reasoning for, because some superstars don't even know that they're getting released until it's on Twitter. And for some reason it's only like athletes that have to deal with that. Like I only know of like NFL players, NBA players. I don't know, can't talk about NHL, but it's like NFL players, NBA players, and WWE superstars that find out they get fired via Twitter. It seems so disrespectful. Like, you know, at least send me like a 30-minute heads up, like, hey, we're firing you. We're putting you on Twitter. No discussion. Like, that's it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, in terms of that, like I would prefer like you would just take me into a room and just tell me what's going on or send me a private email. Don't blast it all over social media.
Yeah.
But and especially while a show is on, it was just a lot going on. It's like you're trying to focus on the street profits and a lot of people are losing their jobs. But in her Instagram post, she was very gracious about being let go from WWE. She noted that she never thought that she would make it to WWE, and while it took her 20 years, that she wouldn't change a thing about her journey. And she thanked Triple H and NXT and Vince McMahon for giving her the opportunity of a lifetime. And she stated that she has never fit the mold anywhere she's been, but she's always stayed true to herself, and that she understands in this business there's nothing guaranteed, but that the best of her has yet to be seen. So I'm really proud that she was able to participate in WWE for as long as she has, because when I first caught a hold to her, she was on the Mae Young Classic for both times, and she definitely impressed me, and I thought for sure that maybe she was going to go all the way and win it. And then of course she went on to get signed to NXT and then get bumped up to the main roster like this last year with everything that was going on with Retribution, and then she went back to NXT again, only to get released. Only to get released this time again. But I'm not worried about her because she's so very talented that I just really believe that anywhere she decides to go, she will land on her feet and still, you know, fly. So what do you think about that, TK?
I mean, look at Chelsea Green. Like she got released from WWE and she's working at 3, if not more. She's NWA. She's doing ROH, and she just announced that she's back on Impact. Like there's being a wrestler of today, there's just so many places you can go. And even if you're not signed to a promotion, like the indie scene is thriving. Well, it's thriving albeit we're still in COVID or whatever it is we're in right now. So
Right.
it's I have no idea what's going on. So it's thriving in that way, meaning that you're working. Some borders are still closed, unfortunately, in some countries, but you're still able to work. It's not like WWE was the end all, and then you have AEW as well. So it's not like WWE was the end all be all, like it was 5 or 10 years ago. There are people who are making a living being a wrestler and just being a wrestler, meaning that they don't have a shoot job. They're working enough where they can make money. So and like I said, like you said, Mercedes has been around for a long time. She has a very established name. So I think she's gonna be good. The good thing about, I call it almost like window dressing. The good thing about WWE is that you now have that to your name. Former WWE superstar or former whatever. In a lot of I've gotten a lot of job opportunities because I used to work for TMZ. So she has that to her name and she can use it to her advantage and maybe make more money than what she was making before. So, and then probably all the lessons she learned, the networking. So yeah, she's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I definitely believe in her ability, and you're right about the entire point of them being able to go far just because they did work for WWE. So I'm not worried about her, and I'm also a believer of the fact that you have to get rid of the notion that all is gone down to hell just because WWE is over for you. Like wrestling is, you can still wrestle anywhere you want to go. There's no limit to what you can do and where you can go and what you can do. So she's going to be just fine. And I see Robert Batito on Facebook in the comments saying that he can't wait to watch NWA Empower on August the 28th. Me neither. So that's just going to be good. And maybe at some point she'll hook up with NWA.
I mean, anything is possible with NWA. ROH, I think they have their championship roster already kind of set and on its way. But anything, I mean, we still have a whole year, again, barring that the world doesn't shut down again. So we'll see what happens. So hopefully it doesn't, and we still have a whole year to go to do amazing things. So she's good. Mercedes is good.
Yeah, she is. Also on the docket, we have Jordynne Grace, a former Impact Knockouts champion and Knockouts tag team champion. She spoke out about her being disappointed at the lack of female wrestlers getting opportunities or not getting opportunities through the Forbidden Door. She basically discussed that talent across promotions like Impact, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling have been sort of flourishing to a degree and having different kinds of dream matches and stuff, but it's only given and geared towards the men and the male superstars, and there hasn't really been that many female superstars to sort of cross through that forbidden door and have those opportunities. She stated, speaking to TalkSport, she stated that she was super excited when she got the news that the Forbidden Door thing was happening, but when months went by and there was nothing involving the women, she just grew to be disappointed, and she chalked it up to it being a part of politics. So yeah, and it's just, and sometimes when it comes to stuff like that, you can kind of see who's benefiting from that the absolute most. On social media, there have been lots of people to talk about, oh, well, I feel like AEW is benefiting the most, or Impact isn't really benefiting all that much from it. So, TK, what are your thoughts on her being disappointed in the lack of female opportunities?
Well, we did have like NWA and AEW, and they have the crossover with the women. So, I mean, that's happening. But I agree with her. It's definitely a lot of politics. Could be contract issues. So, I mean, we had Thunder Rosa, who just signed with AEW, but I think apparently her contract might have got bought out from NWA. So it's just like, at the end of the day, when there's lawyers and paper involved, it's always going to get messy. So I definitely think it's probably some contract issues there. Mickie James was on our show last week, and she talked about that. And, you know, it depends on how you are. Like, she considers herself, and she is a free agent, so she can go anywhere she wants to go. However, she has those relationships established. She's Mickie James. Like, right. it's totally different than somebody who's starting out. So it really, it's, you know, it has to do with contract, has to do with who you are. This is where the great thing in the era that we're in right now, and you're seeing it right now on this platform, is that we can create whatever we want to create, and we don't have to knock on everybody's door to get, you know, that opportunity. We can create our own opportunities. With that being said, as a wrestler, you have access to social media. You can grow your fan base depending on how much work you want to put in. And then with that fan base can now be your advocate to do whatever you want to do. So it just, you know, I agree with her, but also on the flip side, you know, it's a lot of stuff that we might not be seeing. There's so many, like I would give, actually no, I wouldn't really give too much, but I would love to be in the back room of the negotiations and what's happening, so I can like actually hear what's going on. So then we know, like, oh, okay, now that all makes sense, instead of like, you know, clamoring and saying, well, why aren't we getting these opportunities? And then it also might be that the people who are in charge, they're not women. So at the end of the day, people, if you are a man, you're typically going to gravitate towards advocating for men, because that's who you are. That's what you're going to advocate for. It's the same thing with diversity in the workplace. The same thing. So maybe the first step is getting more women in the back, helping to make decisions, and women in positions of power, not just as wrestlers, but as, you know, producers, as agents, as, you know, running the company. So that's also something I want to look into.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that we are advocates for here on this show, and also on my show, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. I'm very much an advocate for more women behind the scenes, and when it comes, and I know something interesting that happened a couple weeks ago. One of my podcast friends, the Jobber Tears podcast, had their own event called Jobber Slam, and they were fortunate enough to have a match involving Tasha Steelz versus Big Swole for the Battle Club Pro Championship, Women's Championship. And that took place, and it was a really big deal. So when it comes to stuff like that, I feel like the sky is always the limit there with what they can do with the Forbidden Door. But I am glad that Jordynne Grace had the courage, you know, and the fortitude to speak up on that issue if it was bothering her, and using her platform to do so.
Yeah, kudos to her. She doesn't speak too often. What she does, she's pretty impactful. So kudos to her.
Yes, shout out to her. Also, we're going to discuss PWI recognizing the Pan-African World Diaspora Championship as an official world championship. Like, how cool is that? Like, that is just the most amazing thing on the planet. Fight Club Pro debuted the championship in fall of 2019, and they also granted the IWTV Independent Wrestling Championship as well. And Trish Adora, as you just saw in our graphic there, was really proud to share that plaque that PWI gave her as the reigning and defending champion. She has reigned for 541 days, and she has faced the likes of Ashton Starr, Suge D, and Riche Chanel. Basically, anybody who's anybody in the independent wrestling scene, she has faced and defended that title incredibly well. So, TK, what do you think about it being an official world championship now?
I mean, I'm surprised that it took so long. Like, I mean, Trish Adora is just, she's an amazing representative of the title. I don't think there was anybody else that they could have given that title to represent them. And I don't know. I think the Jazz match might have been happening, or it's on the docket. I don't know what's happening with that, but yeah, she pulls no punches. What up, Black Fist? She pulls no punches. So I'm really, I mean, she's amazing. The title is amazing. I didn't know that we were waiting to be recognized, but I'm glad it is recognized. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because it has been a long time. So whoever is second to hold that title, they better be worth it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. But what do you think that does for representation in terms of an African themed championship being deemed as a world champion? Because I don't think I've ever seen a title like that ever created before in my wrestling fandom. And the fact that it exists now, you know, it makes me as a Black woman feel really good inside, to know
Right.
that that championship exists, and then to have a Black woman at the top of her game holding it, you know, that means even more as well. So how does that sort of make you feel in terms of representation?
It's a catch-22. It's just like, I mean, you could put it in, you know, the Oscars, and you wanting more diversity in the Oscars and the Emmys and stuff like that. It's kind of like, and not necessarily putting that organization on the level of the Oscars, but it's just kind of like, why did we need to be recognized? Because we were already being recognized. Like, I'm sure you've known of the title. We've had Trisha Dora on quite a few times on the show. She's a friend of the show. That picture that we just put up is pretty much iconic. Anytime you look for Trisha Dora, that's the picture that you're gonna see first, most likely. So it's a catch-22. So it's like great to be recognized, but it's also like, why do I need to be recognized? I think Thunder Rosa, when she was on the show, she talked about PWI. I think she was ranked at a ridiculous number. I think she's gonna be ranked higher this time around. But it was just kind of a catch-22 for her, because she's known, like, everybody knows who she is, everybody knows all the work she's done. So it's just like, okay, well, you didn't recognize me, but then why do I even need to be recognized? Because people already recognize me. So it's a catch-22. So I'm happy for them to be recognized, but I also don't want it to be for other titles and for the other organizations out there. I don't want people to hang their hat on, like, we have to be recognized in order for this stuff to happen. So yeah, so it's kind of like, that was a very sitting on the fence answer, but at the end of the day, that's a very sitting on the fence type. For me, is a type question too, especially being a Black woman, because there's a whole bunch of other things that minorities have to deal with, that some other people don't have to deal with. And, at some point you get to a point where it's like, if you do, great. If you don't, I'll be fine. So I hope that's the point that a lot of people get to as well.
Yeah, you gave a very honest answer, and that's really all that anyone, can ask from any of us when it comes to something like that. But I want to send the congratulations to Trisha Dora for that milestone, and hopes that she continues to have a stellar reign. And Black Fist 86 says Trish is a beast. Yes, she is. Definitely. I agree with you, sir. All right. Also, we have Ruby Soho in the news, who's formerly known as Ruby Riott in WWE. She was a part of the many people who got released this year, sadly enough. And she was so talented, and I feel like a lot of what she had to offer wasn't really shown as much in terms of the main roster. Mm-hmm. But she is predicted to be having signed to AEW really soon. A lot of people have predicted this. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, he said that there are all signs pointing to Ruby Soho signing to AEW after her 90-day non-compete clause with WWE is complete. Now, she has yet to confirm anything herself, but the only thing that she really has posted is a picture of her sort of sitting in a chill-like coffee shop with new red hair, and it's really beautiful. But she herself hasn't confirmed anything, so it's more of a wait and see type of thing. But I feel like if she did go to AEW, I could understand, why she would go there, because it's a place where newer talent and sort of established talent, are thriving depending on the circumstances. And, she could also help put over newer talent as well, because she's so experienced and she's wrestled everywhere, including WWE. So, TK, what do you think about Ruby making that jump over to AEW, possibly?
I mean, the great thing about AEW is there's kind of like different levels. So you have WWE, who's very controlling in character, right? And It seems like AEW is, there's a little bit of control in there, but if you have a great idea, they're gonna let you run with it. And then it seems like Impact, it's like, if you have a great idea, go run with it, period. Like, bring us all the ideas. So it's I feel like anybody who leaves WWE and they're a very creative person, wherever they're going to land. And of course, some gimmicks don't work. It's just, the nature of the beast. But wherever you're going to land there and you keep at it, you're going to be fine. I think I don't know if the right word is fear. Because you only have so much time.
Right.
You only have so much time to tell a story. You only have so much time to build a story. And not everybody has that it factor. Not everybody's going to be LeBron James. So right. I think it's just honestly kind of knowing your position and, going from there. So I hope to see, I don't know, to me, she feels like she has a lot of ideas that she hasn't been able to execute. I mean, there's plenty of people who've come on the show. Maria Kanellis talked about it. Mickie James talked about it, where they had a whole bunch of ideas. And these are veterans in the business, had a whole bunch of ideas that they brought to WWE and it never transpired, never happened. So I feel like I can't wait to see what she's going to do. Like how she's going to bring it all together.
Yeah, me neither. Like, because I know I was a huge fan of her coming up and doing the Riot Squad with WWE with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. And I thought it was cool that she was even the leader, but somehow or another it just sort of fell apart, and now Liv Morgan is the only one left. And that's not to throw any shade at Liv Morgan, because I love her so very much. And I love what she has to offer, but it's just, there's so much that could have happened with those factions that just fell through and slipped through the cracks. So hopefully she will go on to better things. But like I said, no, she has not confirmed or said anything. This is just, rumors, the rumor mill. So all those rumors are going to keep rumbling until we figure out what the truth is. So
shout out at Fightful, because he's been on top of her stuff. I in all positive and not the negative sense, he's like the TMZ of wrestling. Like he has so much, he has such a wealth of information, and it's usually correct. So shout out to Sean for sure. He's had me on his show, and just great things. If you want to know what's going on, then definitely head over to Fightful. Like, as far as like on top of it, these are people who got released. This is what's happening. All the little things. So definitely shout out to them.
Yeah, and I also want to hope, positive vibes for him, because also while that was going on Friday, this past Friday, with the news of the releases, someone made a fake account of his and then decided to blurt out like untruths. So I can only imagine how hard that must be to be at the forefront of wrestling news on social media, and then have someone take advantage of you like that. So kudos to him, and I also wish him all of the best in carrying that load, because I know it can't be easy. So we wish him the best. Also, one last thing that I want to bring up on the docket. It's not really on the docket, but I'll bring it up anyway. I want to send a congratulations to Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, because they announced that they are expecting their first child. Yes. That is so great.
Some WWE babies. I saw that. That was cute. We posted on the account. I mean, it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22 because being a woman, we have so many like tough decisions. Because we had talked to Trinity about this when she was on the show. Like, she had mentioned that because I think they want 5. When she does get pregnant, that's like her retirement. And that was a couple years ago, so who knows? Things could change. But you literally, like, wrestling or any other sport is a sport. Like, you have to put your life on hold. You can't. It's not like you're just going to the office. So I really, it's just almost like Becky. If this is what you truly desire after you have the baby, I really hope that she has the opportunity to excel. Because sometimes, and now you can apply this to the office, it's like 9 months or 6 months is a long time. And, the world does not stop. So definitely congratulations to them. But Candice LeRae had such an amazing career on the indie scenes. I feel like they weren't taking advantage of her or using her properly in NXT. The last kind of stint was like, okay, but again, there's just so much. I don't know what it is with WWE. And again, I don't I don't have a promotion, so there might be a lot more stuff that I have no idea about. But I don't know. It almost feels like it's the same thing with the WNBA. You have all these girls in college dunking, and then they get to the WNBA and they're no longer dunking. It's like, wait, what? It's the same person. Like, did you tell them not to dunk? Like, what's going on? So I really truly hope that that's what she wants to do after she has the baby and she wants to wrestle, that she's actually given an opportunity to be fully who she's supposed to be in wrestling, and she can showcase all of her talent. So yeah, congratulations to them though.
Yeah, I'm really happy for them in the sense that I think it's funny because just last night when we were watching NXT, they were playing the roles of parents watching over Indy Hartwell and sort of blocking her and her date with Dexter Lumis.
Oh my gosh,
and the whole index angle.
So funny.
Like, it's really funny, and it kind of brings it into perspective now with them sort of acting like the parent roles to Indy and to Austin Theory, and now they're actual parents in real life. So I'm really happy for them, and I also do hope that she will have a means of, pursuing her career, even she's having and having to raise a child with Johnny, and they're just the cutest couple ever. So I'm just really, happy for them and proud of them. So that sort of wraps up. That basically wraps up Women's Wrestling Talk with the news edition. So TK, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and put yourself over?
I can definitely do that, but before we wrap things up, there was a clip that I wanted to play you guys from our last interview. So I think Robert mentioned NWA. So Stephanie and I will be there, by the way. So we're gonna get a lot of content for you guys. But here is Mickie James talking about getting your tickets in the event.
August 28th is Empower in St. Louis, live from the Chase. August 29th is NWA 73, and we're doing 2 days of television taping on the 30th and 31st for the next season of NWA Power. We're also doing the fanfare on the Saturday and Sunday now during the day prior to the events. There's going to be red carpets. There's going to be all kinds of fun stuff, media and press, and Ella's going to be there. TK, are you coming?
Oh, I mean, I was trying to convince her before you came on, so I think I might have to figure it out and make my way.
I'm trying to convince her. She's like, I don't know. I was like, you need to.
No, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a whole, just the whole synergy and everything around it. NWA 73 is almost sold out. Empower is getting there too. She's close to sold out, so I'm excited about that. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please go get them because.
So that interview was amazing. So go and check out Mickie James. She was on our debut episode on Fight TV. So you can go and check that out. If you Google it, if you literally Google Women's Wrestling Talk and Mickie James, that's the first thing that pops up. So I'm really excited about that because Google sometimes is no bueno. And then next week's interview, we have Eva Lise. So Stephanie and I and Eva Lise will be talking. We talked about a lot of stuff, y'all. If you're familiar with Eva Lise and everything that's been happening, it was a great interview. She shared a lot with us. So shout out to Eva Lise for that. So that's going to be dropping next Wednesday on Fight TV at 7 p.m. Eastern. With that being said, going back to your question, Stephanie, thank you. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. And thank you guys so much for your support. There's somebody in the comments, Eric, said he loves the show. So thank you. The show, there's just so many more things that are happening. I'm really excited for it. So yeah, you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad.
And of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, everywhere at Queen Steph Hardy. And you can follow my podcast page, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and at Hardy Wrestle Pod on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk with us. And until next time, bye, y'all.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1